All right, it's indeed a very, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's another edition of The Tackle, the 14th of February, 2023. Happy Valentine's. Happy Valentine's. Happy Valentine's. Meshack. Good morning. As you can see right in the background, it's already morning in Nairobi. It's bright in the morning in Nairobi. When you join, please like. When you like, we get to know that you're watching us. And after like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. It's a Valentine edition, the 14th of February, 2023. It's a Valentine edition. Happy Valentine to every tackler who's joining us this morning, especially the women. Women's happy Valentines to all the women who are joining us this morning. For the men, mnaweza enda mchukue happy Valentine zenu huko kwa mjengo. Haya. We'll see you this morning. Please, when you join, when you like, we get to know that you're watching us. And after, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. It is the 14th of February, 2023. And this is The Tackle. When you join, please when you like, we get to know that you're watching us. And after like, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. Also, let us know where you're watching us from this morning. Let us know where you're watching us from this morning. Tuambie unatazama kutoka wapi asubuhi ya leo. Kama kaida lazima tuende mbele za Mungu tuombe. Halafu tukirudi basi tunakuja kuona nani ameweza kuamka. Mighty Father, we come before you this morning. We worship you. We glorify your name. Thank you for another opportunity to be alive. We thank you for this broadcast, and we thank you for every tackler who's joining us this morning. May you meet them at their point of individual needs. And even as we have this conversation, may it edify the fabric of this country. We pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Hi, Kibulgor Kuwait, all the way from Australia. We are back. Asante sana, good morning. And I'm glad to see you back on air. Asante sana, ndugu yangu Chris Wekesa. Bro, niko logged in. Happy Valentine's. Yeah. Wanaume hawafai kuambiana happy Valentine's. Tafuta kadem hapo kwa laini on the comment section. Mwambie happy Valentine's. Wanaume tafadhali. We are not, ni kama kuambia mwanaume good night. You're not supposed to tell a man good night. Odede, unajuanga. Unaambiaje mwanaume good night? The same way, please, tusiambiane happy Valentine's. Happy Valentine's ni ya people of the opposite gender. Tusikizane. People of the opposite gender. Tusianze kuambiana hapa happy Valentine's na sisi ni wanaume. Hi, good to see you back on air. Asante sana. Chris Wakesa bro logged in. Chris Wakesa mjengo tena. Yes. Wanaume chukua ni happy Valentine's huko kwa mjengo. Julius Rono Kiambu watching. Asante sana. MC Kali, hello. Good morning to you my brother. MC Kali, good to see you. Mungai Polo. Hi man. Good morning. MC Kali, good morning. Good morning to you my brother. Daniel Korir, good morning. Aldama Ravini logged in. Asante sana. Naomi Nafula, happy Valentine's to all Kenyans. Happy Valentine's to you Naomi Nafula. Not to all Kenyans, to all Kenyan men. Kianza na mimi. Haya. Don't give Arab Kuwait watching your live from Alingam, Nairobi, Kenya. Asante sana. Good to see you my brother. Enoch Ngetich watching from Bomet. Lakini hapo kwa mjengo hapana. Ngetich, tafadhali chukua happy Valentine's kwa mjengo. Haya. Mochi Junior watching from Boito, Bomet County. Asante sana tu Bomet. Guys from Bomet, nyinyi ni watu wazuri sana. Mungu abariki. Kristo happy Valentine's girl. We, tumekatazwa. Wekesa. Usijaribu kuniambia happy Valentine's na wewe ni ndume. Wekesa. Tafuta dem hapo kama umrembo amekuja hapo mwambie happy Valentine's. Kama Naomi mwambie Naomi happy Valentine's. Naomi anasema from Saudi Arabia happy Valentine's to all Kenyans. Asante sana. Joel Arama, good morning to you chairman. I hope you're doing well. Asante sana. Solomon Kiambi watching from Laneta. Asante Andrew Yasa watching from Naivasha. Good to see you guys. It is indeed a very, very good morning to you. Dixon Cheboy, good morning to you Dixon on YouTube. What YouTube mambo vipi? Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. All right. And Dongo Lekevo Arab Kuwait and some watching you live from Alingam, Nairobi, Kenya. Good work Bitok pamoja bro. Happy prayers day. By the way, Kenyan men are God fearing. And today they are converging a near stadium to pray for the country. Kenyan men are very good people.
Yes.
Honest men.
Yes.
Odede. Ula Valentine amonenda nya stadium maombi.
Tuko na conference ingine pia na
men's conference huko. Na Leto. Ya watu wa polygamy.
Kani ground. Huko.
Watu wa polygamy. Alende. Unaenda Valentine's ama unaenda maombi? Ama unaenda watu wa polygamy? Unajua Luya? Ni watu sana mnafanya na hii. Mnaweka support system. Unasema bibi akileta kierero na mletea sister. Msaidizi.
We are honest men.
Sema huyu ndio mke wangu wa ndoa. Unaenda na hiyo kuomba ama unaenda men's conference ama uko Valentine's?
Yeah, lazima tufike Nyayo tumshukuru Mungu na tuombe kwamba tuweze kutufungulia neema zetu. Na aweze kuweka Kenya pamoja ili tuwe na msimamo mmoja na tuweze kuwa na mwelekeo mmoja kama nchi. Na pia tuombe kwamba hii kiangazi bana hii jua imechoma bana. Hii jua inatuchoma, imechoma. Kiangazi imeingia hadi karibu inaingia kwa mfuko. Kama tayari ishaingia kwa mfuko.
Ilishaingia labda kama haijafika kwako na maana ni dynasty. Bure kiangazi ya mfuko ilikuja kitambo sana. Kama haijafika kwako na maana ni dynasty. Haya. Alright, good morning. Kuna jamaa hapa anajiita Painkiller. Hala. Johnson Kotu, good to see you my brother. Welcome back bro. Good. Thank you so much my brother Johnson Kotu all the way from Weben. Asante sana ndugu yangu. Governor Clinton Monai Mirmet watching live from Eldoret. Our minds now hiko kwa bandits not Valentine. Watu Eldoret ni prospect ama maua. Maua ama prospect. Maua ama prospect. So make decisions wisely. Utanua maua ama utanua prospect. Kupanda next week. Painkiller la kisha saba Eldoret Teleview. Happy Valentine's Day to all who are serious in relationships. Kwani kuna watu wako serious? Okay. Mudhoni wa Jimmy, so huyu ni Msononi will not admit it, lakini she watched very bad things on Facebook. So her account disappeared. So if you have been looking for Msononi, you can find her in a new account, Mudhoni wa Jimmy. Yeah, beautiful morning. So I big hello to Meshack. Hey, umetumiwa kiss na roses, na rose flowers.
Thank you,
hey. And this is Precious Lovers Day. Looking forward to hot discuss. Asante sana. Karembo headed mwalimu, good morning to you. Habari ya Meru. Anasema Karembo wa Meru watching nikiwa staff room. Asante sana. Salimia walimu wote wa Meru. Asante sana Karembo. Good to see you this morning. And Dong anasema ni prayers days Bitok. Salimia wageni. Mimi naenda kwa maombi. Tuweke Mungu mbele. Si bora mnajua mnapendana. Kwa kweli, Kristo akasema Mluya lazima uwe na mawe 3. Kwenda juu hakuna hiyo mambo ya moja. Kuanzia 3 kwenda juu. Hiyo ni cheo ya polisi. Cheriot Korire, morning Bitok, you are back and I'm back. Ketini maneno, leteni maneno sana. Asante sana. Good to see you. Please share. If you have not shared, then tuko na shida nawe. Please, when you join it, when you like, we get to know that you're watching us. Natalie, please share. When you share, you give someone else an opportunity to watch it. Of course, the biggest question as well this morning is, unaenda wapi? Unaenda Valentine's ama unaenda maombi? Valentine's ama maombi? Haya. Good morning, Karo Mema. Good morning, happy Valentine's. Happy Valentine's to you, Karo Mema. Good to see you. Cheriot Korir na kuona Dike Chebwe. Good morning, GB. Good morning to you. And I hope you're doing well as well, wherever you are. The guys on YouTube as well. Na nimeweza kuamka. Asante sana. The guys have joined us as well on YouTube. The president yesterday has given directions that there should be an urgent disarmament, immediate disarmament, a joint military operations to disarm the bandits of West Pokot. But I don't know who is a bandit. Because nikiona, unajua tunaweza kuwa tumekaa hapa na Khalende ni bandit. Lakini atakai kama vile unaona tu mvaa suti, is not a bandit. Lakini yako na bunduki chini ya kitanda. How do you identify bandits? But anyway, the president has already ordered that there should be an urgent disarmament, a joint military disarmament of the bandits in the northern side of the rift that has been having issues with banditry. Yesterday also we saw Natembea speaking very boldly on the issues of insecurity in that area and why banditry has been able to thrive. One of the things that I come out very strongly is that the meat that we eat in Nairobi, Odede is innocent because yeye ni mtu wa 7 day. Hakuli nyama. Yeye anakula maragwe na soya. Lakini ule mtu ako guilty sana ya Khalende eats meat every day. Anakula nyama kila siku. So if you are meat eater in Nairobi, kama unakula nyama Nairobi na una shamba umeweka mbuzi, una shamba umeweka ng'ombe,
wewe ni sponsor wa bandit.
Hauna kichinjio, wewe you are facilitating banditry. Alright, so tuache nyama Nairobi. Another thing is we are converging today to pray for the country. One of the prayer items on top of the list is drought. Okay? The second one, njaa. Ya tatu ni uchumi. Tunaombea nchi. Na Khalende amevaa suti leo, amenyonga tai, ako na Biblia hapa kwa mkono, anaenda kuombea nchi. Alright, another development in the country, of course, is the politics of the day. And the question is, are we a perennially political country? Ya kwamba kila siku ile kitu tunaona tunaweza fanya zaidi ni siasa kuliko kitu yote. Khalende, swali ya kwanza. Watu wanauliza, nchi zingine serikali inachimba mashimo ya maji, inachimba boreholes, inatengeneza dams. Wewe nataka tuombee maji. Tuombee kiangazi. What is going on?
What I'll have to say about the issue about prayers
Karibia microphone.
is that since time immemorial, kutoka mababu zetu, kabla hata Christianity ama religion ijakuja huku kwa Afrika, our great grandfathers, whenever they faced drought, famine or diseases, they used to visit the oracle. And they intercede and they help them how to navigate through the problem. When the president announced on Sunday that we are going to have prayers at Nyayo Stadium today, so many people made jokes about it. But it is one thing that we need to know as a religious country, that going and kneeling before God, it is part and parcel of us. Even if you go to the Constitution of Kenya, the 2010 Constitution, and you look at the preamble, we Kenyans say that we, the people of Kenya, trust and believe in the Almighty God. So as a country, we are just doing that. What we said, we are. The second thing is this. By going through prayers, we dedicate ourselves. And it doesn't mean it starts and ends with prayers. What it means, it's prepares and it sets our agenda and it puts our country together so that we can move forward. After praying, it doesn't mean we go back to our houses as government and relax and wait for rain. We continue with other programs. Because even in that Bible, it says that Mungu anasaidia ule ambaye anajisaidia. Na kujisaidia ni having programs having programs that facilitate crop production. That is having boreholes, having dams, preparing farmers with fertilizer and farm inputs, so that wale ambao watapata irrigation na they are close to water bodies wataendelea na farming. For those who are unfortunate, mvua ikipatikana wanaendelea na shughuli zao. So it doesn't mean that after prayers everybody will go home and the government will stop working waiting for rainfall. It means that government must continue and its program must continue, ensuring that farmers are preparing their farms, ensuring that farmers are ready with their farm inputs, starting with fertilizers, ensuring that all government necessary requirements, kama ni access to capital, people are ready to have the capital, so that by the time mvua inafika, ni kuingia mashambani.
Okay. Yeah. Now, one would wonder, okay, what are those programs that you're talking about, the government programs, especially to mitigate the issues of drought and food production? Are you able to outline a few of those programs and say these are the programs that the government is keen on in ensuring that the citizens are able to go to farms and plant? Because the biggest, I've been hearing the issues on fertilizer, and there are regions who are saying, okay, you're sending us fertilizers, but we don't have water. Are you going to plant? When you talk about the measures and the programs that the government has, would you mind outlining some of them that are already in the pipeline or are being implemented? Because we are seeing the prayers are being implemented. Can you also see the other programs that are being implemented now?
The first and foremost one that has already been implemented and it's ongoing is that there was massive registration of farmers through the electronic ways. And one of it is that to enable us as government to know that the farmers that we have and what are the requirements and what are their needs and what is the input that must come from government. So there was massive registration and there's massive sensitization on the ground on ensuring that anybody who is a farmer is registered and government knows where these farmers are. The second program that is ongoing, all the extensive officers, agricultural extensive officers are being deployed in specific areas to see the immediate concern of those farmers. What are the immediate concern? First is to measure the acidity and the preparation of the soil which farmers are using. Two is to get the right quality of seeds that the farmers must use. And one of the things also that we need to know, since we are transitioning from the Jubilee government to Kenya Kwanza government, in the Jubilee government, there was a massive program of ensuring that we have water collections in terms of small dams and bigger dams and boreholes. And we know how that program went. So within Kenya Kwanza, it is deliberate and it is a decision that we made, and it is a pledge that we sold to Kenyans that we must ensure that that program is back and running. So there are going to be massive construction of dams in different areas in this country. The dams that have already been earmarked and money is being allocated. So, and even yesterday, there was a statement from the majority leader, Kimani Ichung'wah. The supplementary budget will be in parliament very soon. And those are among the key considerations that are there in the supplementary budget.
Okay.
Yes.
What are your thoughts, Odede?
Thank you, Gerald, for bringing us back.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It's been long, and I'm happy to see my brother Joe
in government
explaining the government
agenda. Outlining the government agenda.
Articulating the
last time you guys were here, you were in government, he was in opposition. It's a very beautiful world. Anybody this year, now you're in opposition, now, in government.
Now that is the country we want. We need a country where people exchange roles. Sometimes you get to know the strength of the other person. But thank you, Joe, for explaining. Gerald, if you need my opinion on this, number one, you asked about prayers. And I think personally, as a man who also loves God, this is basically spiritual blackmail to the country. Because nobody is supposed to say prayers are bad. So even when you know there are bad things around the whole thing, you are already blackmailed spiritually. You can't go out and say prayers are bad. So it's like Kenyans have been cornered. Something is going wrong, but we all take it to the Lord in prayer. And who will come out and say prayers are not good? Everybody will say, when it comes to God, leave it alone. So we are spiritually blackmailed.
Touch not the anointed. Touch not the
anointed. Not. And if you are the one who comes out to say prayers are not necessary now, then you are the evil one, the devil himself.
Yeah, so don't try and
that means nobody has an opportunity now to say anything wrong about what is going to happen or what was happening in Nakuru. So we are all spiritually blackmailed by our president. Because who is that is going to say anything negative about prayer? Even when you know there are some things that are not making sense. No, we still go to church. Oh. But why are the prayers on Saturday, Sunday not enough? We still have to add others on Tuesday.
This is special. This is very special.
This is very special.
For the drought and for...
So what does the Jews do? They have a very dry land. Do they pray or do they irrigate?
I have not gone there. Not sure.
But the word has it out there that they do a lot of irrigation. They do a lot of irrigation.
What does it?
But here we want to pray. I think we need to do more.
Okay.
And probably go back into our rooms and pray, like the Bible says. When you want to pray, go inside.
You retreat.
Retreat inside your room and pray, and the Lord shall hear. So wherever we are, for those who are going to Nyayo, it is okay. Those who are not going, I think everybody should pray wherever they are, so that we have a nation that is prayerful. And again, I will not blame them, because this government told us they were placed in power by God himself.
Directly.
So directly. So the question I asked when things started heating up is it the same God that we read about in the Bible? Or we think we know? Because that one, gave the people he gave power. When drought came, he rescued them. When diseases came, he gave them solutions. But this one only puts a team in power and then leaves us with drought and disappear when we have hunger and everything else. Is it the same God, Joe? That's the question we were asking. But we still think
you're mocking God.
No, we are not mocking. Yeah. We are asking. We were told.
Yes, a bishop I can call thunder here.
No, Gerald, we were told this government, we were put in power by God. So I'm asking people who told us they were put in power by God, is your God the same one? So that was the question. But let me say about implementing because a lot of things are now water under the bridge. We are at a phase where, as a country, either we perish together or we combine and take the country to a level where we all will be proud of it. And I think everybody must, it's not a must that everybody will look at things the same way. Even in the house where people live, sometimes we look at things differently. Sometimes a woman looks at things with a different lens from yours, and even kids. So definitely, I am imagining that even as we go forward with the Kenya Kwanza government, some of us, it is not necessarily that everybody should be looking at things the same way the president looks at it or the same way his supporters looks at it. I think it will help us build this country more if some people are outside that government and are putting a different lens to look at things. Because if I'm your friend, sometimes I will not see what is supposed to be your weakness. For me, probably it works like a strength, even if for sure it is a weakness. So I still believe we are in the right direction up to that level. As to whether the government has been able to achieve much within the short time they have been in power, this is my thinking. I think very little has been achieved so far, but the expectations were too high, especially on the hustlers. I think some of the wordings that we use as a country during campaigns makes some vulnerable people think this thing is an overnight. Like Meshack gets into power tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, which is Thursday, the life has changed for me. So I think it is the way expectations were raised too high against the realities now on the ground. And if you look at it from there, you will think everything has failed. But if you look at it from a reality perspective, you will know we were not going to achieve much by now. We were never going to achieve much in 6 months. I think we need to start looking at things maybe from 1 year. Because, for example, Gerald, you realize during campaign, we would hear words like nikibeba Biblia, nikiweka chini. Things are different. But you don't realize atabeba Biblia for 6 months. You only think atabeba tu hivi kidogo na aweke chini. So there are realities and there. So Kenyans should wake up and know some of these things were words in campaign and cannot be used against anyone.
So labda bana hajaweka chini alisema nikiweka. Sasa kama hajaweka
so they didn't realize atabeba for 6 months because right now we are saying in another 6 months bei ya unga itarudi. So it means Biblia bado iko juu. In short, expectations should not be raised too high at this point in time.
Look at the comments. Mheshimiwa Elias Murega, good morning all the way from Meru. Candid discussion, Bitok. Prayer is not bad, but let's apply God-given knowledge. Remember, everything in the Bible is truth, but not every truth in the Bible. Use science, research, and technology to solve problems. Why give fertilizer always when we got predictable periodic shortfall in rain? Why don't we address challenge of water? We move away from water-fed farming. We fight corruption other than bandits. Dams, walls, smart irrigation, etc. Joel Arama, new word, spiritual blackmail. What is the timeline for those dams construction? That is from Joel Harama for you, Khalende. What is the timeline for those dams construction? Khalende, which verse in the Bible? The one that says, anayejisaidiwa ndio atasaidiwa zaidi. Khalende, where is the oracle for your great-great-parents? Great-grandparents. But I was saying, ask someone to choose to celebrate these Valentines with our children of Sunrise Children's Home Cabinet. Well, if you can spare something, please talk to Barmase. All right, that is it. And do you have any rebuttal, Khalende?
What I need to emphasize to my good friend Odede is just that among the issues that when we said that tukieka Biblia hivi some things or heads will start rolling was specifically that when you're doing government programs, there are those which are for the short run and for the long run. The short intervention was that first we had to remove this maize subsidies thing, which was specifically for the cabal, which was within the Uhuru government, and the cabal or the cartel who had hijacked the Ministry of Agriculture. These maize subsidies was just a scheme to milk money from Kenyans and to benefit few individuals for the shortest period during the elections period. So that was the first thing that the Kenya Kwanza government ensured that it was removed. And these subsidies, yes, they may look pretty to Kenyans that maize is being subsidized, bei ya unga imeshuka. But in the long run, if you look at the money that we are putting into the maize subsidies, in fact, the first thing that we realized, the moment Kenya Kwanza government came in place, we realized that millers, the Kenyan government owe millers 6 billion Kenyan shillings that was not paid by the Jubilee government or the Uhuru administration. So, hiyo ni deni iko hapo. We realized that 29 billion subsidies for oil was not paid by the Uhuru government for that short period of the campaign that they were pretending to be giving us the subsidies. So that was the first thing that we removed, so that we can put in the long-term interventions that will need at least a year or so that things can start moving forward. So there's that short intervention that was done as government. Immediately the Bible was placed down. So wasiwasi. And among the short intervention issues, immediately the Bible was placed down. The Kenyan government managed to come into an agreement with the fertilizer producing countries, and we managed to get fertilizer at a lower cost. At this time in point, our farmers, yes, we know that there's no rain, but at this point, it's easy for our farmers to access fertilizer at a lower cost. So there are those programs that are already ongoing. As much as it's not that can help us now, but there are programs that are happening and there's government in place. Na manene ya Biblia na manene ya Mungu, tuachane nayo.
I knew that is where we were going anyway.
So, I come from a staunch Catholic family.
Yes.
And issues to do with religion.
So umeacha oracle, ulianza na oracle kwanza. Umeacha oracle. Strong Catholic.
I said that during our great grandfather's time, you know, in CRE, for those who did CRE, there was a topic about African tradition.
Yes.
And you could read about different communities, how they used to pray or intercede or do their thing. So that is part of us. So we cannot run away from it.
General, I knew we were going there. So I'm not surprised. We are all blackmailed. Even us, we can't say much about the prayers. We can only say, may God help us. So what Khalende is not explaining very well, let me speak for the common man, because now you are government and we are the common people. So let me speak on behalf of a common Kenyan out there, Gerald. How do you explain for the common man to understand this? That Uhuru's government had cabal or cartel around the fuel subsidy, and they were minting a lot of money from Kenyans. That is now I'm just explaining if I captured you well. And at that time, we bought fuel at a lower cost as common men. Then you have now removed the cabal or cartel who are minting our money, taxpayers' money. And now I am buying fuel at a higher price. Shouldn't logic demand that when there are cartels and cabals minting money, then I should buy fuel at a higher cost because cabal and cartel are inside this thing? How comes when cabal and cartel are in, I am buying fuel lower at a cheaper rate? Then when you remove cabal, I am buying fuel at a higher cost. I need cabal. I am speaking on behalf of a normal Kenyan. I need cabal, because if cabal can go into everything and then the cost goes down, Gerald, why would I need cabal out of the space? So that is what I want Joe to explain to normal Kenyan like me, a common Kenyan. Because a common Kenyan does not want to know who the cabal is if they are getting it easy and they are getting it cheaper. You're getting me? But if you are removing cabal and then it is going up, the Kenyans will vote that cabal should come back. Because at least with cabal, the prices are a little bit low.
But money is being lost.
Yeah?
What is the general burden?
I am trying to apply the normal understanding of a normal Kenyan. Because for them, going to the shop and buying unga a bit cheaper,
they don't care about cabal.
They don't care who you are telling them is inside that thing, as long as it remains cheaper for them. But if you are removing cabal, and instead of it going down because now cabal is not there, then it is going up. How do you explain that?
Anasema Wakenya anasema ili cabal. Khalende.
If cabal is in and I can buy fuel at 140, then if you remove cabal, I am buying fuel at 170. Who do you think I will vote for? Cabal, of course.
What we need to tell the common mwananchi,
yes,
starting with my good friend Odede, is that during the cabal period, during the cartel period, we used to borrow money from lenders or from China.
Yes.
We used to borrow money at a higher interest, and per day we used to borrow billions and billions of money. How did the cabal used to siphon this money? They pretend they are giving us subsidies, and they distribute this money among themselves. So that's the net effect of it, is that as much as we have inflation, as much as the dollar has gone high, we have borrowed so much to an extent that our core economy, our core structure of economy has been shaken. We were spending more than what we were making. And this cabal knew this was going to happen, but they needed a sweeter way or a better way of how to get this money and put in their pockets. So the easiest way is use the subsidies way, so that you pretend to be giving subsidies to millers and to oil distributors, but in real sense, you are pocketing the money. The common mwananchi will not understand. But since we have a government of truthful men, we have been explained and we now know how this cabal was operating.
The economy is dilapidated.
But there's one interesting thing. As I was coming today in the morning, there's a young man an Uber guy. I asked him, how are things going on? He told me, yes, the cost of living is high.
but at least it is stable. Not like the other time when the cost of fuel, for me as an Uber operator, the cost of fuel was fluctuating and every time it was going up. But this time round, since this government came in place, it is, he's now comfortable. He knows how to plan his things with the cost of fuel. So in short, there are no cabals lying to Kenyans today that we are giving you subsidies, yet we are borrowing money from China. We come and distribute among ourselves. We tell Kenyans we are giving them subsidies for 1 month. We pay the cabal. The fuel goes down. Next month, the fuel is up. Now we don't have those games.
That sounds really nice. That sounds really nice.
Is it not nice? How do you mean it sounds nice?
No, it sounds really nice.
So it's not nice.
But how about you know, I'm Kenyan, just like you, so we know each other. If the other regime had their cabal, so how do you convince me that you are not removing their cabal to put in your cabal? Because that is what is happening even at the county government level. The one governor comes in, pretends that he's sweeping the house. He even goes out, or she goes out there and says, we are going to make sure that all those ghost workers must go. But then they are just replacing those ghost workers with their own ghost workers. Because I can't come into power and start working with your ghost workers. I must work with my own. So
my good friend.
Are we not just replacing our cabal?
Now the new cabal is Khalende.
Yes, and I'm not sure if Khalende is one of the new cabals of Kenya Kwanza.
To assure my good friend and to tell Kenyans this, that Kenya Kwanza is a government on a mission. Is a government that came on place on the platform that we are ready and we are going to serve Kenyans, and we are truthful men and we respect God. And also to tell my good brother, that's why for the first time in this country, we have a president who is ready and who is happy to ensure that we have a strong opposition. When we say a strong opposition, we are saying that we have a minority who are ready to put the government in check, who are ready to offer checks and balance, and who are ready to critique the government, and who are ready to sit on the table to offer solution so that we can move forward as a country. So the moment my good friend Odede realized that we have just replaced one cabal for another cabal, he should do the necessary as the minority or as the opposition so that we can go forward. And my good friend, some of us, we are not worried about the barazas or the meet the people tour. What we are just telling, what we are just requesting from you guys is that stay on the script. And the script is about uniting Kenyans. And the script is about you guys offering an alternative leadership. It's about you criticizing or critique the government on its policies and on its program. Hii maneno ingine ya maandamano, or we do not recognize William Ruto as the president, that one of talking about elections, apana. But if you people are offering alternative solutions, or you are giving solutions going forward, I'm happy, and I'll be happy that as a country. No, I can't come there.
All right, quickly moving on. Let's look at other newspapers headlines of the day. People Daily. Ruto likely to declare drought disaster. Page 7. President calls for a national prayers today and could make major pronouncement on hunger. Right? Love is in there as Kenyans make early plans to celebrate Valentine's. I saw it yesterday in the CBD. Everyone was red. Maua zimejaa kabisa. Everyone has bought flowers except Khalende and Odede. Raila's Ali is walking away. Okay, game of numbers as Azimio leader walks tightrope as Iski associates chain tune in wake of anti-Ruto allies. Okay, Atwoli ndio huyo alishasonga, Karan Keinan alisonga, Sabina Chege ndio Kanini Kega gone. Who is this other guy here? Naomi Shaban, the governor for Marsabit ndio huyo. Bandits in Rift want as KDF are called in. Okay, that's on the paper daily. Taifa Leo, generali bila risasi. Ubabe, bunge la 13 linaporejea vikao vyake leo baada ya mapumziko marefu. Upinzani unakabariwa kigumu kumenyana na upande wa serikali uliowashawishi wabunge wengi wa Azimio kuiunga mkono. Huyu kurasa wa pili, Raila atazamiwa kulemewa bungeni baada ya Ruto kumpokonya wanasiasa wengi. Viongozi wakabiliana na wanyakuzi, gavana ongoza wananchi kupinga unyakuzi wa ardhi pale Taita Taveta. Songo pale, kesi ya Sonko ni yawa tu. Mahakama ya juu yataka kesi ya Sonko kujitakasa itupwe. Haya, PSG wakabili Jabali Bayan. Mbunge Toto ashtakiwa kwa ukabila. Inasemekana kwamba Toto amealika watu wa nyumbani pekee. Wakazi wawili wa Bomet wamewasilisha kesi kotini wakidai ameajiri watu 6 ambao ni jamaa zake ama familia zake. Valentino bila pesa, mchuuzi wa maua Mary Wanjiku Ngigi akitangaza bidhaa zake katika soko la City Market Nairobi jana. Hali ngumu ya maisha imeathiri shamra za siku hii ya wapendanao. Haya, Taifa Leo ndio hiyo. Daily Nation, killing fails, President William Ruto orders KDF to join security operation Wild North. In the last 6 months, over 100 civilians and 16 police officers have been murdered in the banditry-prone areas, with schools, churches and police vehicles banned by bandits who have become even more brazen, escalating the terror activities on locals and law enforcement agencies. Uhuru caught up in fierce fight for Jubilee Party. Kimaumana pale liona watu wamefuta Murana amefutwa kazi, Jeremiah Kiona amefutwa kazi kama pale kuna Jubilee Party. Huko family retreat as hopes of finding his killers fade. There was actually a feature on NTV. It's a race against time to deliver textbooks to junior secondary schools. Schools in 20 counties have already been issued with the books, as says KICD, with each student getting 12 for each of the core subjects. Can you imagine? 12 books, one subject. Higher. Standard Financial, Warriors farms ditch shilling for dollar. Businesses are increasingly opting for the greenback of day-to-day transactions in what experts warn stifle full utilization of the country's monetary instruments amid spiraling inflation. That's under and the Standard as well. The prayers versus barazas. Prayers versus barazas as experts warn of economic turmoil. Priorities, the country has slid back into the campaign period with rallies in the name of prayer meetings and public barazas. But Parliamentary Budget Office economists say there's need to rethink the financial model adopted if money is to get into people's pockets for businesses to return into profitability. Right, the Standard as well. Ruto deploys army to take on drift bandits. US goes slow on sanctions on Syria. Champions League drama is back. Night of long knives, Jubilee to ex-errant MPs. Yeah. Galentine's or Valentine's, love is in the air. As lovers honor each other today, friends too can fit their pals. All right. The Star, jitters in Ruto camp as Uhuru Raila team up. Bandits say Kenya Kwanza fears Kenyatta's financial muscle and international connection. IG sports different look as police service this new set of uniforms. Uniform imekuja mpya. 7 former Jubilee MPs gang up against their party leader. All right. Ruto governors make right moves. Nairobi doctors go on strike after NHIF cover allegedly withdrawn. Ministries agencies suffer shillings 96 billion cuts to fund budgets. All right, that's it on the newspapers this morning. All right, anything you want to comment on the newspapers? Khalende. Anything you want
on
to
the
comment
newspapers,
on
that there's that issue that has been really highlighted, and Kenyans are really having an issue with it. Is about the issue in the North Rift and Kerio Valley. Okay. The issue of the bandits attacks. And I think that as a country, we need to change the narrative. Initially, we used to be told that it was the communities within Kerio Valley and the North Rift that were fighting. That the Pokots were going for the Marakwet's animals,
or the Samburu were attacking the Turkana. But that is not the issue. The real issue is the bandits attacks and the bandits in Kerio Valley. And bandits are just bandits. There is no way, a criminal is just a criminal. That is the first instant that that's where we need to start as a country. The moment we start from there, we come to realize that the story behind is that these people normally attack the communities, they steal their animals, those animals are transported, they are sold here in town, in Nairobi, and some are exported. So it tells you that there's also another cabal, or there's also another cartel that has been fueling these attacks and these bandit attacks within Rift Valley. So we change our tactics. We can no longer continue issuing curfews and amnesty for disarmament. We need to change the narrative. We need to go for the big boys who are funding and arming these bandits, so that we can be able to tell them on their faces that it's no longer business as usual, and you can no longer continue to affect generations after generations and thinking that we will be continuing clapping for you people. You know, there are a lot of stories around here, but it's high time that as a country, we need to bite the bullet. And I'm sure the government of the day is going to do the necessary. After finishing with the foot soldiers, those bandits, we need to come and start arresting and jailing people who have been funding and arming these bandits attack. And they are known. And in fact, I'm happy that among the leaders we have in this country, the governor for Trans Nzoia, Natembeya, did not miss his word on Sunday. And he told the president the real issues. And he has continued to address those issues in different media outlets where he has clearly put the issues on the table. So let's support the government and ask the government that to do the necessary. Yes.
All right. Odede.
Yes, Gerald, there is one thing or two things I've captured on the newspaper headlines. And one of them, because Joe has talked about it, is that insecurity in the Rift or the Northern. My personal opinion would be the problem we have has been politics and is still politics. The problem of insecurity in those part of the country has been politics and it is still politics. Why do I say it is politics? Do you remember at some point one interview with Dr. William? He mentioned and said categorically to Kenyans that the insecurity in the Rift was politics and was sponsored to stop him from getting into power. So now he is in power. Kindiki is our security minister. And bandits behave like they don't recognize this government.
So you mean that opposition
bandits behave, I say they behave like they don't recognize this government. Kindiki issues threats and bandits are hitting a few kilometers away. Or when they hear Kindiki says he is coming, they start today to welcome him. So what does that mean? I think it is because we have done a lot of politics with issues security. I am saying the place where William was at that time, he would have worked with his boss together, and then today he would have been picking it where it stopped. But they politicize it, both the president then and his deputy. So we do not expect much to change now, because you will realize some people will be in the opposition, will still want to politicize it. And then if tomorrow, God forbid, anything changes, then you realize the insecurity still continues. So I think the politics at the national level has played so much to aid the banditry and such kind of insecurity that we see in the. If Kenyans were willing and leaders were willing, when it comes to matters security, they would have worked together and put politics aside. And that was expected even when William had differed with Uhuru on a few things. Coming to issues of security, he wouldn't have politicized it the way I think he did. Because that time he was like, these were just sponsored by government to stop me from power. So today, anybody would want to politicize it the same way. And I think it is wrong. Whether it happened before or it is happening now, whatever it is still wrong. So on the other issue, I think I noted the other issue, the issue of opposition. I noted in the headlines. Generally, bila risasi. Nation media, we love you. Sisi kama watu wa Azimio hatuna shida na nyinyi. Nyinyi ndio inaonekana kwamba mna shida na sisi. Mnawezaje ita baba generali bila risasi? Baba ako na risasi mingi na hata akifire mara moja, you can hear the government is talking, everybody is jittery. How do you call that bila risasi? Na akifire tu moja.
Baba anatoanga wapi risasi? 2017 tuliambia risasi ilikuwa mpaka moja. Bado mnatengeneza risasi nyumbani?
Nyinyi ndio mnasema baba amebaki na moja. Sisi hatujawahi sema amebaki na moja. It has been your word and now you are using your own word against us. The truth is baba akona risasi until death do us part. There is nothing like baba generally bila risasi. But let me speak a few things around this opposition and the entire thing. I think Kenya Kwanza need to pick one agenda, Gerald. Mm-hmm. If they pick agenda of having a strong opposition, let it be. But on one hand, we cannot be inviting all the members of parliament to our corner who claimed that they didn't believe in us as Kenya Kwanza and they campaigned against us. Mm-hmm. Now, in the name of, in disguise of, we want to work together, unite the country. And like we said earlier, it is okay for me to see things different from the way you see it. So I don't think whoever is advising the president on this, I don't know how politically right they are, but I believe it is not in tandem with the words, we want strong opposition, while poaching all the members of parliament, bringing on this side, you are hurting the oversight. And when oversight is stopped, who is benefiting?
As a member of Anshack,
yeah?
As a member of the Anshack government, can you afford to say that?
Yes.
As a man who defended Anshack?
Yes.
Okay. With which mouth?
No. You see, the handshake...
How did you end up with the Anshack government?
No, the handshake was not what we are seeing. The handshake was different. We had issues, serious issues, that led us to court, and the court pronounced themselves on the matter. So to organize ourselves and come up with something for a longer term, these two leaders had to sit down and talk. Okay. And that happened in the open. They came up and say, we are now working together on 1, 2, 3, there were 9 points agenda. They came out. But how is it possible that William, on one hand, he does not want to sit down with the boss of the other side. On another hand, he wants all the leaders from the other side to be here. That is ambiguous, that is different. Uhuru and Raila's were clear to Kenyans. They fought to the bitter end. And when the country was almost at the brink, they came out and said, you see, we have talked and we have agreed on this 9-point agenda. So we are going to work together to implement this. So nobody is saying William should not work with the other side. But it should be open now that I am now working with this team on 1, 2, 3, 4. Not sneaking to State House, sneaking to where Mara we are in, we are out, Mara Sabina Chege is in, Mara they are kicking Uhuru out. What is this? I mean, Kenyans don't understand.
Can I say something?
Yes.
On this issue of opposition, when Dr. William Ruto said that him as the president, he will want or he will wish to have a strong opposition. He did not say he will strengthen his opponent. There are two different things. Opposition is different. It's an institution. An opponent, a political opponent, is different. And you are a politician. And William Ruto is a politician. As much as you have an opposition, a strong opposition, in 2027, you will not want to face a strong opponent. So you need to play your role as opposition. And you need to play your role and your cards well as William Ruto's opponent. Those are two different issues. So, as opposition, Kenya Kwanza's policy and Kenya Kwanza has pronounced itself, it's not going in bed with the opposition. And we are not going to have a handshake. But we are ready to work as leaders. On issues specifically, in fact, where we are in Langata constituency, if I'm not wrong. We are in at the. This is Kibra. Oh, sorry, this is Kibra. In Langata constituency, the neighboring constituency, the member of parliament has pronounced himself, and he has said yes, he's in ODM, he's in Azimio coalition, but he's going to work with the government of the day to deliver services to his people, and it's clear. And Jalango has explained himself. He has said that he was given a call by the president himself. He told him tomorrow morning, come to State House. We want to talk about the issues of low affordable housing and the issue of water and the issue of the Technical Training Institute in Langata. And do you know that Jalango and do you know that Langata in the whole of Nairobi County, Langata constituency is the only constituency with no technical institution. So, if you are Jalango, do you go for maandamano from Monday to Friday? You tell the president, I'm not coming. Or you go and visit the president in the morning? Then go to maandamano later.
No, the question is...
And Jalango, in fact, Jalango, was it on Monday? He went to State House. They discussed. On Friday, he was ready to go for the retreat. And he was going for that retreat as an opposition now
So Gerald,
yes,
we need to get things clear here.
Okay.
Joe should be knowing this even better than me, but because of politics, he has decided not to know the things he knows. He knows if Jalango wants technical institution in his constituency, the budget is done in parliament, and he is a member of parliament. He goes and he allocates money for that. Whether the president loves him or not is not an issue. Whether they talk or they don't talk is not an issue.
What
People of Langata pay taxes. They have sent you to the parliament to represent them, and budget is brought before parliament. Why can't you make sure there is a budget to build a technical institution in Langata? Must you go to State House to get it? So where do we draw the line, Joe? Maybe you are young. Wait. Maybe you are young. Where do we draw the line between the way Nyayo alituongoza and today? If everything I want for my constituency, I still have to go to State House. Mutukufu Rais, where do we draw the line? Are we going back to that time, or we are now in a new constitutional dispensation where parliament... Do you know the reason, Joe, why budget was brought to parliament? It was brought so that we don't go to beg maendeleo where we said siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya, meaning if you oppose me, there is no maendeleo for you. I think you guys are taking us back. And then the second thing, I do not see how we keep this word opposition even when we know it is not there. Where in the Constitution of Kenya do we have opposition? We have minority in the House and majority in the House. And we have the entire Legislative Assembly, both Senate and National Assembly, oversighting the executive. We are insisting on opposition. They are insisting on opposition because they do not want that oversight to happen the right way. Because if that oversight were to happen the right way, then Gerald and Meshack and Joe would not mind which party brought us to parliament. We would mind that our work as parliamentarians is to oversight the executive. Are the executive doing what they are mandated to do? Is there value for money for the people we represent who pays those taxes and things like that? But we keep insisting with this story of you are opposition, I am government. So why should a member of parliament elected by Jubilee, not Jubilee, UDA, be in parliament? What are they doing? Because they are saying, Sisi, we are now parliament, we are not supposed to oversight.
But
now opposition is supposed to oversight. We want a strong opposition.
Odede.
Why the hell did we even have a new constitution which separated the executive from
Let me ask you, Odede,
legislature?
talking about lines and drawing of lines.
Yes.
The first people who came out to reprimand
Yes.
Jalango were governors who were just from State House.
Yes.
Even the grass they stepped on have not started rising.
Yes.
Nyang' Nyong'o, Orengo, all the other guys.
Yes.
At what point do you draw the line between who and who does not interact with government? And then again, look at Raila Odinga.
Yes.
Moves out of opposition, gets into government, stayed into it, makes an action without consulting Odede. But Odede somehow, because it's Baba, is okay with it. There are no lines. So where do we draw the lines of hypocrisy when it comes to politics? That even you, Odede, you can come on set and have a problem with Jalango working with the president, but you don't have a problem with Baba tomorrow decide to have an handshake with William Ruto. You don't have a problem with governors coming in there to negotiate for their counties for allocations. At what point do we draw the lines of hypocrisy? How wide are they and how dull are they?
I don't see hypocrisy, Gerald. I don't see hypocrisy. We have two, levels of government, and it is cut very clear. The county government and the national government. There are meetings that are even in the constitution, like IBEC, chaired by the deputy president. There are meetings that governors do in the name of Council of Governors. But the role of a governor is way different from the role. Governor does not do the role or play the role that members of parliament play. Actually, the truth is, Gerard, nobody is saying ministers, president should not meet members of parliament from the opposition. They can meet. The question was, if they were invited by the president or they were seeking the president's attention for matters development, isn't it just courteous as a party, member of the party, to just notify your secretary general, party leader, and say, we are trying to organize this meeting with the president. These are the agendas we're looking for, so that even your party leader and the party entirely as leadership of the party knows that among the things we have been able to do as a party is to mobilize and work with the president for the development of our members of our communities. And one of them is 1, 2, 3, 4. Why do you just, if today William Ruto would wake up and realize 30 MPs were meeting Raila Odinga in Karen, do you think it will be different? It won't be different. Without his knowledge, without nothing, it won't be different. Even if they just go to discuss peace of this country or the peace in the rift, the role of opposition, it will not be different. So members did not do a wrong thing that they were going to State House. The problem is when you go to State House and you're like 6, 7, 9, and the party leadership is not aware completely what the agenda is or whatever. It is a problem. It should be a problem. Even on the other side, Joe, it will be a problem. If today 9 members or 10 members of parliament from the Rift are seen in Karen, and the leadership of UDA does not know anything, trust me, it will be a problem. So it is not just on this side.
You know, even if we give Odede the whole day to explain, how is it that Raila can't go for the handshake and Jalango can't go to State House, Odede will not finish. So the key problem is this: our politics of patronage, politics of entitlement. And Odede has said it clearly. The simple issue is that why is it that Jalango, Professor Ojenda, and the whole group went to State House, minus Baba? Baba also will wish to be in State House. That is the problem. And how do we solve this problem? And Odede, let me use your logic. You have said that in our constitution there's nothing like opposition. We have the minority and the majority. How do we do our politics in this country going forward if we have the minority and the majority? It is either by that line or go the bipartisan way. If you go the bipartisan way, even if you look at the strong democracies in the world, if Biden has an issue that he needs to cross the floor of the house, he always does. You go to UK, it always happens. You go to Israel, it happens. So in this case, if it happens in Kenya, some people are called political prostitutes. And there's one thing I also need to share with my good brother Odede. Every politician, and I'm happy this is a quote from Governor Waiguru. Without ambitions in politics, you will go nowhere. Every politician has an ambition. And people's career, people's ambition have disappeared by this strong mentality of Baba akisema left, ni left. Baba akisema right, ni right. And I can tell you, the young people who are within ODM and Azimio circle, they already know, we are human beings, that the last ya generali bila risasi, the way it's in the headline, it is 2027. After that, it will be another field. And I'm happy young people like Jalango, they're ready to challenge it.
So mambo ya Jalango ni 2027. Okay.
Not 2027, but I'm saying in terms of politics, for those young people within Azimio who have ambition, even those who will sing Baba Baba today, even those who are with Baba within that circle,
even Odede
will want to have that ambition, or to see his ambition in the politics going forward. Okay. How do you work in such a scenario? And I want to tell people who are saying that Jalango will be a one-term MP. I can assure people that if you chase Jalango out of ODM, Jalango will be the MP for Langata come 2027 if he works with Kenya Kwanza. Because Jalango knows he managed to defeat PS Nixon Korir with less than 1,000 votes. If Nixon Korir is not on the ballot, he's the MP. Even if they bring Baba's daughter in Langata's race, Jalango will defeat Baba's daughter.
Is that not how you have lied to many politicians out there to contend with Baba? And I can, Gerald, give me a paper and I will write 1,000 of them who have been told things like that. And no longer. They lied to the line.
Odede, who is the prime secretary, Wetangula, who is the speaker, Kingi, who is the speaker.
If you we can write the list. Okay, we are not talking about Jalango here. We are talking about members of parliament who were in State House. Yes. But because Jalango is maybe a Nairobian politician, so is coming out conspicuous. But I don't think the whole conversation is just about Jalango versus Baba, because you can't
just
put Jalango
politics,
against Baba. Joe, you know it. And if you want to destroy the young man's political career, go ahead. People have done it. Shemo Chuodo was there in Rangwe, and many. I can count many. So if you can come and be the magic advisor and advise, go ahead. If Jalango wants to pick that, let him believe that he is too popular. He can beat Baba in Langata. We will see. But
you shall see.
We will see. Because I only know history, which says people have tried to contend with Baba like that, and they have not gone too far. But I don't think the conversation should be there. Gerald, for me, the conversation should be about the party discipline. Because I just said on a light note, if Kenya Kwanza, or let's say Musalia, have got members of parliament, if you would wake up and realize that 5 MPs from ANC were encouraged to discuss the peace between Nyanza and Western, for example. And Musalia, as the party leader of ANC, does not know. A Secretary General does not know. Party leadership does not know. I think it doesn't augur well. Let's put politics aside. These are the kind of discipline that in the jurisdictions that Khalende is mentioning, UK and whatever, are not there. Those kind of indisciplines are not there. We are not saying president cannot meet these people. President should meet anybody he is supposed to meet for matters development. But it is supposed to be, because if Meshack today, I want to meet the president, I will meet the president without any noise, because I am not a member of parliament in this particular party. But when you step up, Gerald, and you are now a member of parliament in a particular party, it's different. For Shabir, for example, nobody will make noise. He's independent. So I think party discipline is needed both sides. And when we speak party discipline, we should not make it to be a patronage. Everybody needs, even William Ruto, I believe, needs some discipline in UDA. I don't think he would just want to wake up and see his MPs discussing everything everywhere with everyone. Even now, I think he has already realized the way cabinet should speak. So nobody should speak ovio without consultation. So when you come out as an organized. Joe, didn't you say you want an organized opposition who is opposing issues? So how does that happen when you have members of parliament who just wakes up and say, today we are going to meet Bitok, and that is it? And nobody should say, hey guys, didn't you tell us? Maybe there were more other issues they would have been sent. When you go to discuss this, also discuss 1, 2, 3, 4. Not really. I mean, you guys are just munakejeli Baba, and it is wrong. Yeah.
To add something on what Odede has just said. Yeah. As a young person, I will wish that we have politics along principles, politics along ideology, politics along agenda. And we are from elections, and we were in different formations, and somehow, somewhere, we were in those different formations because they had specific agenda, and they had specific manifesto, and there's something that attracted you towards a certain coalition or a certain political party because you believed in that ideology. And even if we may have bipartisan politics, I will not wish we now have the real political prostitution of where you are in ODM but you want to be in Kenya Kwanza. Ama usiku mchana you are in Kenya Kwanza, but at night you are in ODM. I do not wish we have such kind of political scenario. We need to have some level of hygiene. For specifically why I have narrowed to Jalango, I have listened to his interview
after that meeting in the State House. And he has categorically been straightforward on why he was in State House. And I will want to believe those are his reasons of why he was in State House and support him. But going forward, with what my good friend Odede is lamenting, I am supporting him because how would you feel like as a person that today you are in Kenya Kwanza after the election because Azimio formed the government, you jumped shift even without telling us how you ended up in Azimio? Because I will be surprised, and there's an incident which happened the other day. The last ceremony, was it Mashujaa Day or what was it? We had and we had a luncheon in State House. There's a young man from my village.
Recruitment for Arizona University.
Odede wanacheza chini. I met a young man from I met a young man from my village. He was a strong supporter of Azimio. Yes. Then I was shocked to meet him in State House. Yeah. The man was in a blue suit. Yeah. Then I asked him, na si suit ni kama ilikuwa ya kusoa hii ni baba. Yeah. Akacheka. Then I asked him, man, you are in opposition. How is it that we are meeting in this area? Akaniambia, nyinyi ndio mko na ng'ombe. Na wakati mnaanza kugawa, lazima tukue karibu. You see such kind of mentality, such kind of thinking of our people.
It's not based on any ideology.
It is not based on ideology. It is not based on something concrete that we can say this is our politics and this is our stand. And that's why some of Kenyans today, you meet young people in this country and they will tell you, I do not have a voter's card and I don't think I will vote. Because whenever they see such things, they get discouraged, they get disappointed with the politicians because we have politicians who are just double speakers. We have politicians who do not have principles, and we have politicians who cannot stand on something.
Gerald, let me tell you. Let me tell you and our viewers and listeners, what we lack in Kenya is civility in our politics. I am a strong supporter of Baba, but I would expect that if William Ruto, the president, comes out with something that is beneficial to the country, I expect Baba to say, yes, this is a good thing. Okay. And when Baba has his comments on what he thinks are not good, then William should also pick and say, I didn't see that angle, but I think you may be right. Let's rethink again and see what works for the country. That is what we lack at the top level, and we still lack it even at the lower level of politics. Because it is expected that if I am a UDA member of parliament, anything that comes to the house, I should say yes to without questioning. And it is the role of ODM to say no to that. And if ODM member of parliament also say yes to this, if they are convicted and they feel like this is the right thing to be, or the right thing to do, then they are betrayers. I think that civility is what we lack across, both top, bottom, and across. If we will get it, then our politics will move to another level where, you see, the reason why I'm saying this, right now you see the Jubilee members of parliament. The things they are doing, of course, there is space for everyone, freedom of association and all that. But is it really necessary that they must move and join? Can't they support where they are and say, we as Jubilee are members of Azimio? If the right thing comes from UDA or Kenya Kwanza government, we will vote yes to the right thing as long as it is benefiting Kenyans. And if there is a wrong thing, we will say and protest on that wrong thing. Must we go and say, we are now here, like what I saw with Ad and Kenan and all that? I think that makes brings the betrayal aspect. And you're not just betraying the party leader, you are betraying the voters. Because you went out and campaigned against that team, saying they do not have what will take Kenyans ahead. Then here now, you abandon everything. You are running to the other side. Are you taking Kenyans back now? Because when you campaign, you said Kenya Kwanza will take you back as a country. But, so are you joining the team to take back Kenya?
But let's take a step back and,
Yes.
and assess the issues with the Jubilee members.
Yes.
The Jubilee members' story started when Baba was in South Africa. When he landed, they wanted to have a meeting with Baba. And they asked Baba to explain to them, what is this thing that we are going to do in Jacaranda, and where are we headed with this thing?
Yeah.
And they wanted the audience with their party leader in Jubilee, who was nowhere. What I'm trying to say is this, that even the party leadership and the party structures and the owners of these parties, they need to give a chance to the MPs and the party members to understand the direction that they are taking.
Yeah.
If we go back to the issue of handshake in 2018, it is there on record. Raila did not give ODM members a chance to discuss the handshake. They just saw Baba at the steps of Harambee House, and it was just a by force. You follow Baba, and they followed him. Come to 2022. The Jubilee members wanted to explain to the party structures and the party leadership that the politics of the day, the politics in Central, is so hostile on them. And they will wish to work with the government of the day. And they wanted to have a mechanism as a party to work with the government of the day. But the party structure and the party leadership did not want to give them an opportunity. And that is one of the reasons why Tanga left Jubilee. It is because within the Jubilee at that time, there were issues. And the party leadership did not want to give the members of Jubilee an opportunity to sit down and iron those issues. And whenever a meeting or a purported PG was being called, it was just orders from the above. No discussion. How I wish within the Azimio, even I know, and Odede knows, within Azimio, there is a push and pull of these barazas. There is one group which is led by the Baba's chief agent, Saitabao, which do not believe whatever is happening. And there is another group which is blindly following Baba and going forward. But within Kenya Kwanza, I'm happy to say that the party leadership within Kenya Kwanza has given the members of parliament and the party members an opportunity or a platform to air their views. And I'm happy even the way the president works. He's giving leaders, religious leaders, political leaders an opportunity. Initially, we remember when we had the issue of revenue allocation bill in Senate during the Jubilee era. It was just an order, go and pass that bill. The leadership at that time, the executive did not want to sit down with the governors. And in fact, even if the deputy president was meeting governors as IBEC, some of the governors who were supporting handshake could miss those meetings. So they were not given an opportunity. But this time round, the president took his time. 2 days. In fact, it was a full retreat. Took time, went and sat down with the government. They aligned their issues from national government. What are our issues from county government? What are our issues? In fact, I'm happy to say that they ironed out the issues to an extent that the national government and the county government have agreed that all the cases that they have in court are going to be withdrawn. The issues that we are having today about the revenue allocation, the governors are pushing for 425 billion Kenya shilling. The government is saying that they can only be able to raise
350 billion shillings, that issue is being sorted out amicably. So that is the leadership, or that is the opportunity that some of us young people who are in the political arena are wishing we have such a platform where even if we are disagreeing, we are going to agree tomorrow. I've been given a space, or I've been given an opportunity to raise my issues and to raise my agenda. I know there are those governors. And one thing that you need to know, this issue of governors, these governors were there from 2017 to 2022. They saw how Jubilee or how Uhuru government handled governors. All the governors who are in disagreement with the president then, they had issues in court. So most of these governors, even I can assure you today, Odede, no governor in ODM will attend those Mandamano thing knowing that tomorrow his file will be open at DCI. I can assure you. In fact, they have seen in all the Mandamano rallies that they have had, no governor has stepped there because they know it's easy to be removed by the government of the day.
Do you also want to weaponize?
But no, we do not want to weapon it. But we want a platform where we can iron our issues, we can have a bipartisan approach without political patronage.
Gerald,
okay.
This is what I call...
Also, as I move it to you, Odede, bunge la mwananchi liko wazi, 0779-800-010, 0779-800-010. Bunge la mwananchi liko wazi, unaweza piga simu, 0779-800-010, 0779-800-010. Haya, Odede.
Yeah, this is what I call politicizing corruption. What Joe is bringing. Because, Gerald, I think there should be a whole day in all media houses to discuss the conduct of the DPP and its suitability in that office. Because if I tell you, Gerald, that Khalende was the president and he forced me to do these things, so how are we Kenyans going to sit pretty and imagine that William Ruto will not force you? Coming from where I am, William Ruto is more lethal than Uhuru. And Uhuru, the weakling. It is not just me saying. Even William and his people have said it over and over. That even in 2017, it is Ruto who stood strong. Uhuru was already beaten. It is Ruto who gave him the second chance. So I can imagine that William is more lethal. And the DPP is telling me the weakling had pushed him to do all these cases, which he is now withdrawing left, right, and center. So how can William Ruto be with such a weakling DPP? I can only pray for Kenyans, and I'm glad people are praying today. So I think we need to discuss some conduct of some government officials like DPP, because you are not giving any Kenyan confidence in you.
Bunge la mwananchi liko wazi, nambari ni 779-800-010, 779-800-010. Sikia tuko na chairman Joel Arama kwa line. Joel Arama, good morning.
Gerald, thank you so much. It's been very interesting. Bwana Khalende, I hereby nominate you to be the official government spokesperson.
Asante Arama.
You're very articulate. I like your energy and the way you you understand official shortcomings, lakini hiyo ni mambo kabisa. More details you'll be. Bwana Odede, thank you so much for also giving the what we call the third eye, seeing things on a different perspective, and I think that's where we need to move our country to. That your views and my views given a space to compete. And sometimes you may see something different that I don't see. Because everybody has a blind spot. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. One of the things I wished, I said, to the conscious mind for the president. Everybody singing praises, I want to be the person giving critical view and say, President, this is wrong. You need to think up. So that, because that's every leader needs that. Because without that, you are going to blinded praises people think every day because they seek a favor from you.
Okay.
When it comes to politics, then going to set up, it's okay. With the example, I will tell you, for example, in the US or Senate, do go to see the president. But it is made public even before they go. It's known they are meeting him. The leadership knows they are meeting the president. And the people come out and they give a press conference after that and say, here is what we talk to the president. Now, the one thing that we need to avoid is going back to the era of siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. In other words, if you come to me, you're not going to get anything, quote unquote, developed. But as far as the president meeting any member of parliament, absolutely, go meet the president. That's okay. He is your president. He's the president of the country. You have a right, just like any other Kenyan. And as a leader of the people who put you in office, you have a right to speak the audience with the president. If there is an issue that needs to be addressed by the president. But if it is an issue that you as a member of parliament you're supposed to address in your capacity as a member of parliament, and you go to the president, then you are in the wrong office. You need to leave. So, but at the end of the day, and I put in, I said new word. The other new word today for me, as I said, is political civility. And I think we need to encourage that. When people say wrong things, it doesn't matter what party they are in, you need to tell them this is wrong. You know, when someone threatens another politician or somebody else and says, hey, give me, Mr. President, give me permission to, or when this person is arrested, I need to be arrested so that to pigane. Those things should not be said in any public forum. And somebody says that, they need to be told off right there and then say, no, sit down. That is not something you should say, because we need to take that maturity back to a public discourse so that we develop our political process to a place to whereby you are changing people on issues and factual matters. One other comment that I also wanted to make is about the North Rift challenges. We know these are historical things. We start today, these are
Yes.
But Gerald, my breaks, you line of a young officer that's a baby. I mean, he's so young.
Yeah.
There's no point for this person to die at such an age. And when I do a clip of government of state as a regional commander, I go on. Because I said, Gerald, my dad was a police officer, and those were many years ago. But issues are still there. He tells a story out. But then they were given operational authority on how and also interact with the communities that you have that one-on-one interaction with the communities to address challenges. But when it comes to people, 100 people dying in a week, and then the CS in charge of security goes and makes a pronouncement, and then the bandits they're shooting bullets a few meters away from the CS, and the best thing the CS does is to run into a helicopter and run away from. That's not how we should run a country. So, to me, these are very serious. I would like to see the parliament having a session, when it is a joint session, but as a committee for the committee, how can issue so that Kenyans can live? If it's an issue of people stealing cattle from one, can we address it? How can we avoid that?
Okay. Thank you so much, Chairman.
Thank you.
Asante, thank you. All right, that was Joel Arama from the United States of America. Asante sana, Chairman, for your insights on that conversation as well. Seeing some comments here. Stephen Mayo, good morning, Gerald and team. Tuko ndani, interesting talk. Asante sana. Kerin Juguna, good morning, Gerald, and the panel tuned in. Asante. We got an issue with drought, high cost of living, junior high implementation matters affecting the people directly. But I haven't heard Raila speak on them apart from saying Ruto must go. Liberation, democracy, etc., which Azimio tends to talk about can feed the hungry, help parents in school issues, etc. But Raila is self-centered, and the only thing he's focused on is Mandamano and the praise. So let the next Mandamano be addressing the issues of affecting Kenyans directly, share his school of thought and how he can go about them. All right, Dixon Chebai, good morning. Good morning to you. I hope you're doing well. Looking in, and then Kiprop Rotich. Allah, what is it with prayers and rains when seasons are against raining? Even the Bible has it that there is a time to plant, a time to harvest. God himself knew that the harvest time is supposed to be sunny. If our government doesn't have amicable plans to solve the water issue, can we as a nation dare to drill oil? The places that are hit hard by the drought are the semi-arid area, and this is the places known in art to contain massive subterranean underground aquifers. The new discovery in Turkana, as its storage capacity is in volumes, can sustain our country for good 80 years without needed any backup. This leads to question our government being lazy or they don't wish to exploit such resources and bring us a crisis every other time. That is from Kiprop Rotich. Elias Murega, as we do prayers today for our economy and drought in Kenya, let us also remember prayers, faith without action is dead. Our forefathers did divine intervention but also worked out something and were not involved in massive destruction of nature or the environment. Good to remember. Okay, I think I've lost it. Good to remember these two. Everything in the Bible is true, but not every truth is in the Bible. Let's apply God-given knowledge, drill balls and all that. I think that's what he's talking about. Keep quiet. Good morning, Butawa Babwenya. It is good Ruto is capturing the legislature while poor Kenyans are going away from Ruto's capture due to punitive economic issues. Okay. Demugai to a man, Butawa Mbwajenja. Anyway, Butawa, whatever. Job out of order. There is no Mandamano, just Baraza. Okay? But Masatito Kipta President Ruto is much like King Solomon. 1 Kings chapter 1-8. King Solomon, even after installed to be king, he never stopped praying and offering incense to God. He had the enemies of his father removed, wiped out. His pioneered bottom-up leadership where he gave his people over 500 chiefs to guide them. He built the most expensive temple. He stabilized the economy and paid all debts of what he owed the neighboring kings. President Ruto has Solomonic wisdom. Okay. Joel Khalende, you have a good point, but your delivery is falling short. Maybe you need to consult the cabal and cartels on how to present your ideas since they are successful in stealing and lowering the cost of commodities. Yeah. Khalende, how do you sell fertilizer you're marked as not for sale? All right. Gentlemen, 4 minutes to the top of the hour. Any feedback on the calls, and maybe as you also take your calls of the day. I'll start with you, Joe.
We can see clearly that among the key issues that the Kenyans today are affected is the cost of living, is the issue of the drought, is the issue about the banditry attack. And I would wish to say this, that from the government side, that every day, every single day, the government is trying to put policies and trying to put mitigation situations that can say that the common mwananchi is not pressed to that level. But we must bear in mind that our shilling is doing badly against the dollar. The inflation rate, when Kenya Kwanza took power, it was around at 15%. It has gone down to at least 12%. And we will wish that it continues going down so that the prices of commodities can stabilize and the common mwananchi can be able to put food on the table, can be able to put shelter on his head, can be able to take his kids to school. That is our wish as a government. And also, our wish as a government is that, yes, we may differ in opinions, we may differ in so many things, but when it comes to issues that affect the common mwananchi, we need to have focus. We need to be in one
direction to see that we have an amicable solution and our country can move forward. And there's one thing that we need to also put across. We must have a united country that believes in the fundamentals and that believes in the core values of our country. But we cannot have that if we have leaders who are on a mission of self-destruction or on a mission to ensure that certain individuals are not successful. So it is my urge and it's my wish that as a leader, if you have had an opportunity to lead this country and you have done your bit and you have given the baton, it is our wish that you sit back and allow other people to lead. Because if you look at history, and history will judge us harshly. If you look at the day Moi was handing over power, you compare it with the way Uhuru Kenyatta handed over power. Among the two, if there's somebody who is supposed to be annoyed, if there's somebody who is supposed to revenge, I think it's the late Mzee Moi.
Good morning. Morning, sir.
Morning. Good morning, Bunge la Wananchi. Yes, my name is Kome.
Yes, Kome.
And I would like to contribute a few things about the debate on going today.
Okay.
Yes, first I want to congratulate the panelists. They are doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Mr. Khalende and Mr. Khalende with his as a government spokesman, as the previous caller said, and Mr. Odede. Yes, the first is about the issue of cost of living. And I want to agree partially with Joe Khalende and partially with Odede. The reality is that the former government left us in a situation that the government, the present government cannot maneuver much.
You've given up.
The
government has given up.
No, the government has not given up, but the wiggle room that they have is very small.
Okay.
There are some things, for example, we are a very indebted nation. We are a net importer of many things, including our own food. The dollar is sliding at a very high rate. And that is not, and I don't think anyone can really attribute the current government for any of these things. I think what the government instead should be focusing on is communication with the citizens.
Okay.
Because when people like the Deputy President Gachagua, when he comes out and says, Nikiaka Biblia chini, things will be ABCD, and they say, that is giving false hope to citizens, who then at the end of the day will ask, Mbona baya mafuta imepanda na you told us ABCD?
Are you saying the Deputy President was lying to citizens?
It is not particularly lying, but I think they are giving false hope to citizens.
Okay.
Who then cling on that hope, alafu at the end of the day, they end up being even more disappointed than they were previously. Therefore, I think the government should come up with a more open way of communicating, tell people that we are in this problem, and the realistic timeline of getting up from this cost of living problem is not 6 months or a year. Let us think about 2025. Let us think of reforming agriculture in this period. Let us think about alternative ways of living in this hard time. Yes, the second issue that I would like to talk about is the issue of insecurity. And it's been a concern even since the former government. And we saw we all heard the words of the Trans Nzoia governor, Mr. Atembea.
Yes.
And those are very serious words, considering that he was a regional commissioner in the former government. I think the president and the interior security minister and the entire National Security Council, they need to come together and all hands on deck. This is a crisis that needs to be addressed as a crisis. Send in whatever needs to be sent in. I was very surprised when I saw first-year police officers dying in Kerio Valley. And you wonder, is the government really taking this as serious as the rest of the country is taking it?
Okay.
So I think that is something that needs to be addressed with all hands on deck, and the president in particular needs to be more proactive in dealing with that.
Thank you so much, Comment.
Fine.
Yes. You were saying, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll see you again tomorrow on Siasa Odede. Asante, thank you so much for calling in. All right. Odede, tumalizie.
Thank you. This is how I would put it. I believe that there are people who still love this country, Kenya, and are willing to go extra mile to put the right things in place. But politics is politics. And some of these things we borrowed from the West. We borrowed letters, but the spirit is not the same. Okay. So sometimes we just throw words in there and say democracy, it means majority, their way, minority, their say.
Yeah.
But we are not keen on trying to get the people on the other side, whichever side, to understand what you have understood. So you simply think, if I have understood it this way and I like it, that is it. Sometimes it would be good to talk. The country needs to talk at some point and just make Joe see this thing that I see, or I see the things that he sees. And that is what makes the country move forward. So I believe up to this point, sometimes we don't care. We are a bit careless with the way we handle each other. And the political aspect of it takes a toll on us. And we simply go out there like people who are about to fight. But I don't think really we as a country are in a fighting mode. I think we are just discussing issues, and that is why you would find my friend Joe here, and we are not fighting, although I differ with a lot of things he believes in, and he differs with what I believe in. And I wish that is what we would see in our politics, both at the lower level, going all the way up. If people who believe in Baba would know that this is politics, and Baba differs with William on 1, 2, 3, 4, and people who supports William would know this is politics, and William differs with Baba on 1, 2, 3, 4. But at the end of the day, all are our leaders, and we are Kenyans. That is where I would stop it.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure having you. It's always a pleasure to have you on set. Asante sana, government spokesperson, Khalende. Actually, understand the position is vacant.
Yes.
So I don't know if you have applied.
Yes.
Maybe you need to, as advice, you need to apply.
You can cut a few clips and
also
consider this guy.
We can put in a word. Even the opposition can put in a word. We agree.
They are not listening to us right now.
So also the spokesperson for opposition.
Yes.
Meshack, Odede, it's always a pleasure to have you guys on set. The tacklers as well who have been with us, and the callers who have called in. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you. The tackle could never be without you. Until tomorrow on Siasa Wednesday, I want to wish you a very good day. Bye-bye and take care.